Hi there, today I'm going to talk about the links between oxalate and breast cancer. So if you haven't seen my video from last week or a few days ago, I will try and remember to link to that here. If I don't do that, it's about 2 videos back, and it just talks about, or I'm laughing most of the way through it, or a big chunk of it, because it was really embarrassing to make that video. But what actually happened was I ended up with a whole bunch of oxalate crystals coming through the skin of my breasts into my bra. And it just felt like something really nuts. And it was, I wanted to talk about it because I hadn't seen anyone else have this happen. And I know that oxalate crystals can come through people's skin. That happens pretty regularly on Carnivore. And I've had little bits and pieces that I think has been oxalate coming through my skin, and my husband has as well. But this was en masse, like this was a lot of crystals. It felt like lots of sand in my bra. And, you know, I questioned it after it happened. I mean, I've got these things, I've got some in a container, and I was like, so this is nuts. Like, is this real? Like, but there's no other explanation for it, and so it is real, and it did really happen. And so the next day I was still kind of bewildered and thinking this over, like just, you know, over in my mind, you know, about what had happened and the potential ramifications of that. And the question that came into my mind was, is oxalate associated with breast cancer? Because if, like in my case, I've got all these little tiny crystals up to 2 or 3 millimeters long, some of these were, and oxalate is a toxin and it's inflammatory. And so if I've got all these crystals in my breast and in my chest, could that be associated with breast cancer? And so I went looking for studies, and it didn't take long to find them. There's actually quite a few. So looking back through the studies, it looks like, you know, back before 2013, the general consensus seemed to be that oxalate was only associated with benign tumours, and hydroxyapatite was associated with malignant tumours. But then after about 2013, there's studies that started coming out that indicate that, and that they found that calcium oxalate was most definitely associated with changes in cells in breasts and calcifications and breast cancer. So then my question was, why is no one talking about this? I had a look online, like I did a fair bit of searching, and I could not find any mainstream media articles about this. A few blog posts by like naturopaths and that sort of thing, but no one mainstream is talking about this. And so I also have a question as to why oncologists are not recommending a low oxalate diet for their patients, for their breast cancer patients. Oxalate's not only associated with breast cancer, it's also associated with other types of cancers, some other types of cancers. Lung cancer, I think, is one of them. And it's also associated with autoimmunity, obesity, metabolic diseases, diabetes, autism, kidney disease, neurological issues, cardiac disease, and more. So, but the whole breast cancer thing, breast cancer is huge, and, you know, women get warned away from eating meat, and so a lot of people, when they get cancer, steer themselves towards a plant-based diet. And I would have done that up until a year ago. I would have done that because I thought that the plants that I was eating were healthy, and yet my health was declining. And as each year went by, especially over the last 8 years or so, it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And so, yeah, if I'd had a breast cancer diagnosis, that would have been me eating more plants and more oxalate. And so I think that, you know, as I said in my last video where I was talking about the whole moving from vegan to carnivore thing, I said that, you know, a plant-based diet is a good way to go. If you've been on a standard diet, you're going to get benefits, because the standard diet is just full of chemicals and crap that your body and your cells do not even recognize. And so when you go into plant-based diet, at least you're eating something out of nature, and so it cleans up your body, helps your body to detox. You're going to look better and you're going to feel better. And so for someone who's diagnosed with cancer, if they have been on a standard diet, then going plant-based can sometimes help, although it may not, depending on how much oxalate they already have in their body. But for someone like myself, who's been eating so many plants for decades and obviously has a body that's filled with oxalate, if I did that with a cancer diagnosis, that it just wouldn't help. It wouldn't do it. So yeah, so this is interesting. And you know, like I've done enough digging and research over the last 30 years or so into the pharmaceutical companies and how they manipulate government and they manipulate science, to know that they have for decades been steering, probably longer, been steering the scientific research in the ways that they want it. So they won't pay grants to scientists that won't toe the line. And so they manipulate it, and then the science comes out, and then the mainstream media takes over and creates public perception and even perception amongst health practitioners with regards to what's healthy and what's not. And so like I see that at the moment with this whole push worldwide to go towards vegan diets and away from meat. And that's being done because by doing that, they create more customers for life. And that's the pharmaceutical model, is to keep people alive but not well, so that they're reliant on their drugs. That's how they make money. And so yeah, so my question is, like, there's this research that's been coming out since about 2013 showing that oxalates are very definitely linked to breast cancer, but no one's talking about it. So if this research was being steered by the pharmaceutical company, if it was something they wanted people to know about, that would be in the media and they would all be talking about it, but it's not. And so I find that kind of interesting. So this is something that women need to know about and need to be aware of, especially if they've had a breast cancer diagnosis, and especially if they have already been on a highly plant-based diet, because the oxalates that they've been consuming are quite possibly a big part of the problem. But even those on a standard diet can get way too many oxalates. I mean, there's large amounts of oxalate in things like tea and potatoes. So people that eat fries all the time are going to be getting large amounts of oxalates from those, and sweet potato and chocolate, like the chocoholics out there, especially if they're eating a lot of dark chocolate, are going to be getting lots of oxalate into their diet as well. And then there's, you know, your veggies like chard and spinach and beet leaves and beetroot and yeah, all sorts. And nuts, you know, people who eat a lot of nuts and peanuts, peanut butter, almond butter, those sorts of things. Tons of oxalate. And soy products. Soy has a lot of oxalate as well. So yeah, this is something that needs to be known, needs to be talked about, needs to be discussed. And so yeah, that's what I'm sharing. So I've just finished an article about this topic, and I have put that link below. It's on my new website. So go and have a look at that if you want to. I've got the some links to some studies in there. And if you've got any comments or questions, fire away below. If you like this video, and make sure if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Get it right. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Share with anyone who you think might be interested, especially the girlfriend that's been diagnosed with breast cancer. And yeah, that's it for today. I thank you for watching, and I will talk to you again another day. Bye for now.